Hello and welcome to the Surge League. Tonight we have Looking for Top playing up against Disciples of Reese. Excuse me. This should definitely be an interesting matchup. Looking for Top has had a little bit of trouble, as their name implies, with their top laner, and it seems like they have brought in a new top laner, Bugs Rabbit, to play for tonight. Trinity are going to be the first ban for the side of LFT, and I happen to know that that is a Thick Broly special, so it definitely makes sense. Disciples of Reese, though, answering back with a Smolder ban, a good first ban from their side, acknowledging that that champion is super strong, is high priority on blue side. And if you are playing blue side, you kind of are forced to ban some of those high prio champs away. Disciples of Reese doing a good job acknowledging that and following up. Looking for top, Senna going to be their next ban, and I'm not entirely sure who that's targeted against. So far as I know, none of these players play Senna. So be very interested to see why they decided to pick that particular ban, but you are going to answer back with an Elise ban. So a little bit of focus kind of all over the map here. Nobody really focusing any one particular lane. We'll see what LFT's final ban is going to be for this first round of picks. Kennen, Hubbard and locked in for the side of LFT, and Kennen definitely a very strong mid laner and top laner right now. A very good flex pick for the side of DOR. I don't believe Thick Broly plays it, but I'm pretty sure D5 does. So the Kennen, a very good ban. Definitely could make things very difficult for them. A lot of good AoE CC. But Disciples of Reese answering back with an Evelyn ban, and they are a little worried about this Cross Furies jungle. Seems like a little bit of focus being put there, as well as acknowledging the early first ban. LFT, though, we'll have to see what they prioritize for this first pick. This could be very crucial and what they choose to build their team comp around. Sion going to be the pickup here for LFT, and usually played in the top side, likely not going into the support role, although that is a minor possibility. Mid lane also a minor possibility. Personally, I hate to see Sion in the mid lane, especially in solo queue. It feels incredibly bad. However, you are picking up the Gwen. A very good answer here will be Hubbard. Not quite locked in yet. Will be locked in and confirmed. And as we saw last week, Justin Gingercat is an absolute monster on this champion. A very good pickup for the side of DOR. And if they're allowing that through, you kind of have to wonder how much scouting LFT have done. Have they watched any of the previous matches? So far, it does not appear to be the case. Wukong also going to be hovered here. And these are both flex picks, so DOR are not really showing their hand here. Could be played in either lane. Likely going to be the Gwen jungle, given how well Gingercat did on the previous series. Morgana and Kale, though, both picked up here for the side of LFT, and this is an interesting team comp that they're starting to put together. Sion could go to the mid lane. Kale could also go to the mid lane. So a little bit of flex pick coming out from them as well. Morgana also flexible into the mid lane, most commonly seen in support, but you never know. And Azir going to be Hubbard for the side of DOR. Now, this is obviously not going to be a flex pick. We know exactly where this Azir is going into that mid lane, and DOR have elected to hold their bottom side very early in this draft. And given what they have picked up here, I think that that is the correct decision. Very strong champions on this top side, this core roster that they have started to build. Could be very interesting to see how they pilot these champions. DOR, though, starting this final pick phase off, or this final ban phase off with a Caitlyn ban. We'll see what LFT responds with. And it is going to be more bot lane focus from the side of LFT. A Vayne ban coming out for the side, or on their side, And Vayne not likely to go in the top lane. Given that both Sion and Kayle are picked up here, one of them is likely going up in that lane. So really don't want to see a Vayne in the bot lane. More bot lane focus, though, coming out for the side of DOR. And DOR in this particular pick phase are at a bit of an advantage. They do have the first choice of ADC, and given how many ADCs have now been banned out, we do have 4 in total, 3, technically 5 if you count Senna, 3 for the side of DOR, and 2 for the side of LFT. They get first pick on this red side of which ADC they prefer to go for. And it is going to be the Sivir locked in. And this is really interesting. Wukong, Gwen, and Azir all able to kind of go forward, and Sivir really boosting those capabilities. That ultimate really good for running people down. And I am excited for this DOR team already. It looks incredibly strong. I cannot wait to see what they elect to pick for the support, because I think that will really, if they're picking something like, Nami is banned currently, but if they pick something like Engage, trying to think what the best option might be here. Maybe a Leona, or if they pick up like a Leona or a Nautilus, this could be actually an insane team comp from the side of DOR. LFT, though, picking up the Yunara. So a little bit of hyper carry, which personally I'm not entirely sure that I like to see with the Kayle, but Yunara will scale pretty well into the late game. And Sejuani going to be picked up as the final pick for this blue side here. A very tanky team comp for the side of LFT, and kind of will protect the AD carry team comp as well. A little bit of disengage for the kind of engage that DOR are looking to play. And will be interesting to see. Ooh, the Yuumi. Okay, so not even really needing to catch up with the rest of the team. Yuumi just going to ride on top of whoever is running in. And DOR have a very interesting team comp here, but so do LFT. LFT a little bit easier to execute, and they kind of just have to scale. They really don't want to fight early. DOR, though, lots of pick potential, lots of engage, and they definitely need to make those moves early. Their team comp is a little bit harder to execute, but definitely has some very good potential here. Good potential for both sides, though. I really want to see how this particular game shakes out, because this may just end up being another hand stiff. However, if LFT can get to the 30-35 minute mark, this game could become very difficult for the side of DOR to play. Wukong sort of falling off towards that late game isn't going to be able to output nearly as much damage. Sivir also kind of falling off in comparison with Yunara. Does not do as much damage as that hyper-scaled ADC. Kayle also going to be a problem, but Gwen will create a problem for the side of LFT. So we'll kind of have to see which team is able to pilot the early game better. The early game and mid game are going to determine whether or not LFT are able to snatch a win, their first of the season. As we jump into Champ Select here on the League client, we're going to go ahead and throw it over to a quick break. Can DOR close this game out quickly, or will LFT get the opportunity to scale? We'll find out soon. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back for game number 1 of DOR versus LFT. And I hope you guys are excited for this matchup, as I am. This one looks like a bit of a banger on the way, as we get a very standard start for both teams, neither making any super aggressive moves here. We'll be Thick Broly on the Gwen top lane. We'll be going into the Kayle. Sion in that mid lane for the side of LFT, and that, you know, if I were D5 right now, I would be a little bit annoyed by that pick. But we'll have to see how this shakes out. Not a lot of early action going to be coming out for either of those teams. However, Thick Burly doing a little bit of damage early. Jack the Ripper really just needs to survive in this lane. Azir has it all to do for this particular matchup. Sion just needs to survive. Same kind of thing for Kayle. Kayle really just needs to survive. Get XP. Get close to that level 16 as she can, as quickly as she can. That is going to be the difference maker for these teams. Very passive playstyles for both of these solo lanes. A lot of good damage coming back onto King D, and the heal going to be used by the side of Sheepy, or excuse me, by the side of Get Lasered on that Morgana, just trying to mitigate some of the damage that King D and Sheepy are able to put out. A lot of good poke, though, can come out from the side of this Morgana. And Get Laser definitely doing a good job of putting that poke in. On the top side, though, things have kind of stabilized for the side of Bugs Rabbit. Thick Broly doing his best to put as much damage into this top lane as possible. But Cross Furies is now up here on that Sejuani, and there is no W available for the Gwen. Level 4, a flash coming out from Cross Furies, forces the flash out of Thick Broly as well, walks back in, and I don't think that's exactly what he wanted to do. Will get the return kill, but 100 less gold for that top lane. I don't think he needed to walk back in there. Potentially trying to bait, but I don't know about that particular decision. It will be a trade of top laners, though, and Thick Broly will not be mad about the state of that lane, as it will be pushing back into him. A good early gank from the side of Cross Furies, though, lessening the amount of pressure on that top side. Ginger Cat now here on the bottom side does get bound up. King D using the Ghost, but not able to get a whole lot out of it. Get Lasered will just reset here. And his ADC is still relatively healthy. Hard Rock going to be very happy about the state of this lane. Ginger Cat not going to be able to create any more harass. Hard Rock will not be able to stop the recall coming out from this Wukong, and he will reset successfully. Back up here on the top side, though, Thick Broly trying to put as much pressure onto Bugs Rabbit as he can. Jack the Ripper forcing the recall out of the Azir, and this is kind of a bad lane state for him. That wave is pushing away, and it's very massive at this point. Will have the TP to get back to lane, but will miss out on a decent amount of XP thanks to that lane pushing away from him. And this, if you are Sion, is exactly where you want to be. E5 going to be doing as much as he can to put that damage into the Sion, but Sion's so tanky early. We're going to make that poke incredibly difficult. On the top side, though, Thick Broly does have level 6 over Bugs Rabbit. And while not quite as impactful as the Kayle ultimate, that Gwen R is very strong. D5 now in a bit of a sticky situation as Cross Furies sniffing around the mid lane, but 2 tanks means that there's not a lot of damage. Good fancy feet coming out from the side of D5, and the ultimate comes out as well, taking Cross Furies very, very low. Will not quite be able to finish off that kill, as Jack the Ripper, trying to make things difficult, does use the R in response. Ginger Cat here to back up his mid laner, but Jack the Ripper will be able to get the kill and will potentially just walk out here. And this is what makes the Sion matchup so frustrating. That Sion incredibly tanky. Ginger Cat now getting bound up by Get Lasered Kid, who will clear out that control ward. And D5 going to be a little bit frustrated with that result. Not able to get the kill. Did commit the flash and ultimate. Did get the flash and ultimate in response from the Scion. But Scion's abilities in Summer's so much lower value because he can just sit back and farm. Will take D5 quite a bit longer to poke the Scion out than the other way around. Jack the Ripper also having the first component of Sunfire completed early is going to mean that he clears these waves even more efficiently, and that is just going to cause more frustration for the side of D5. Now getting poked up by the Scion Q, and it does so much damage for no reason. This is tanks in 2026. Sejuani now looking for the first Drake for their team. Ginger Cat on the opposite side of the map, and I'm not sure that Disciples of Reese have an idea of what's happening here. The Drake will go down completely uncontested. A little bit of a frustrating start from the side of DOR, but still plenty of time to recover as Wukong sniffing around this bottom side. Not going to be able to find anything successfully though. There is a ward on this bottom side to spot him out, and quite a bit of vision on this bottom side for the side of DOR. They are now rotating up towards this top side. Thick Broly a little bit weak here on this Gwen. Will not be able to contest, and that will be complete early objective control for the side of the scaling matchup. And if you're Disciples of Reese, this is not what you want to see. You really want to be taking control of these lanes early. You want to be taking control of the early objectives because you know later on in the game with some of these scaling champions, it's going to be quite a bit more difficult for your team to contest if you are not in an advantageous position. You cannot afford to go even here. If you go even as Disciples of Reese, you will lose this game. Kid Lazard still setting up great vision for this bottom side. Will be able to spot this Wukong coming from a mile away. Ultimate coming out from Hardcore here on this Yunara. Get Lasered does manage to successfully bind up King D, but underneath his turret, going to be very safe as Thick Broly in a little bit of trouble here. Cross Furies sneaking around this top side. Ooh, D5 not quite able to get the ultimate off. Did not wait for the final animation coming out from the Scion, and that is going to be very frustrating. But the ultimate coming out from Cross Furies, and Ginger Cat is in a bit of a rough position, is forced to use his own ultimate. Jack the Ripper coming underneath the turret, but takes too much damage. Does fall in the end. Cross Furies, a good flash, is able to catch out D5. And if you're Scion, you will absolutely take that trade. Once again, forcing the flash out of your lane opponent. 2 plates for the Scion in this mid lane, and he is going to be really annoying to deal with. Does now have the first component of Spirit Visage as well, which is going to make things all the more frustrating for D5 in this mid lane. Relatively even though on this bottom side, a slight XP advantage for the side of Hard Rock. Thick Broly though down an entire level on this Kale. And taking a look at this XP, both solo laners up for the side of looking for top. And as mentioned previously, this is really not what you want to see if you are on the side of looking for of Disciples of Reese. Excuse me. Both of these solo laners you really want to set behind early, because if you allow them to scale uncontested into the mid game, things are going to get very, very difficult once you hit 25 to 30 minutes. We'll have to see though how things shake out in this mid game. Now Bugs Rabbit spotting out the Wukong will back off of this top lane. And a small gold lead for the side of LFT here early. And Sion coming down here to make things interesting. Get Laser Kid will use the ultimate. Hard Rock also using the ultimate. And King will just get stunned up. Sheepy nowhere to go. No flash of his own. Cross Fury is trying to make some moves in the mid lane. D5 pushing the Sejuani back into his jungler though. Will use the ultimate. And the Sejuani getting very low. Will go down. And a shutdown going over to Ginger Cat. Jack the Ripper though trying to make something happen. A response. Will have that Hollow Radiance. So combining those two components into Hollow Radiance. But Bugs Rabbit doing a lot of damage to this top turret, forcing the TP out of Broly, but it may not be enough. That turret will just barely survive. But for how long? Get Laser Kid now helping out Jack the Ripper in this mid lane. Going to make things very obnoxious for the side of D5. But Bugs Rabbit getting run down by Thick Broly here. Does have to use the R in response. Oh, it is so incredibly close here. But Bugs Rabbit just barely managing to flash and get the advantage on his laner. Did not have the E reset. And Ginger Cat also having to use his flash. This is looking really tough for the side of DOR. Bugs Rabbit able to collect the first turret on that top side. This Kale so accelerated in this early game, up almost 2k. As Jack the Ripper just creating a lot of space here for the rest of his team, giving the Sejuani so much time to free hit this dragon. Forcing the bot lane of DOR off of their wave and off of the objective. D5 looking for this Kale top lane. Thinks better of it and decides to go back to his own lane. And if you're Disciples of Reese at this point, you have to worry a little bit. You really need to find some good early or some good mid-game team fights as Cross Furies trying to make some good team fights of his own. Will find the dash onto the Caitlyn, but Sion is here as well. Oh my goodness, the hands. What a flash coming out from King as he goes right across that Sion ultimate. Sion says well played, just walks out of there. As the point I was trying to make though earlier is this game is starting to look very scary for the side of DOR. They really have to find a team fight, and Bugs Rabbit instead finds Wukong. Thick Broly will try to trade back, but still has that ultimate on Bugs Rabbit. Cross Fury is using his own ultimate to protect his top laner. And Thick Broly going to be very frustrated with that one. D5 now having to do something against Jack the Ripper. Oh no. Very frustrating for this Azir. Is not able to make anything happen. Ginger Cat, though, trying to make something happen on this bot side. But Bugs Rabbit is very strong at this point in the game and will just solo kill the top laner, or the jungler, excuse me. Jack the Ripper now down here on this bottom side does have ultimate available. Will use it to go on to King D. And no fancy flash this time, but will have fancy feet. Does manage to dodge out on the Scion ultimate, but not able to dodge out on the other two. The Morgana binding means that King goes down and Sheepy soon to follow after. Jack the Ripper with some very great rotations on this bottom side, creating so much pressure for his team. Is completely unlocked now that that mid lane turret has gone down. And 18 minutes here. 6k gold lead for the side of LFT. They are looking really strong in this first match. Bot lane will shift over to mid, swapping with the team's mid laner for both teams. Hard Rock looking to challenge on these wraps, will get most of them. Ginger Cat going to be incredibly frustrated with that result. Not able to contest, but here in the mid lane, D5 is on Hard Rock, who will flash away from the Azir ultimate. The TP coming out of the Kale. Ginger Cat trying to go hard onto this Yunara, but the Kale ulti will save him, and now the rest of Ginger Cat's team has to run. That Kale so scary, just making it in time. DOR not able to find any moves in this first game. Jack the Ripper, though, out here completely by himself, will just press R. Thick Broly trying to flash to prevent that Scion from ulting out, but will not successfully manage to do so. Bugs Rabbit will continue to push in this top side. Is level 15 at 20 minutes in the game. This Kale is going to be a monster as she's about to hit level 16 with 2 full items. And even with all 5 members, she may be able to win out. This Kale could be completely 1v9. Sejuani on the bottom side will collect the 3rd Drake of the game. It is going to be Hextech Soul, and that will definitely make this Kale incredibly happy. Or excuse me, it's not going to be Hextech Soul, it's going to be Chemtech. That will also make Kale incredibly happy. Big Broly trying to make a play here onto Jack the Ripper. D5 trying to protect this mid lane turret. Does not have a lot of assistance at the moment as King is in the top side. Cross Furies, though, here to assist his jungler, or here to assist his top laner, excuse me. Dick Broly trying to get away, but the ultimate coming out from the Sejuani just means that he will lose his life. Sejuani now putting the Rift Herald down onto bottom side, trying to crack. Oh, excuse me. Ginger Cat actually took the Rift Herald. Likely a misclick. So he will drive it around towards mid lane. But to be honest, I don't think they even make it there. 4 members of LFT here. And now they're looking for a team fight. but King D does pop the Sivir ultimate. The rest of his team running forward, and Cross Furies is getting a little bit low here. Does attempt to turn around. The Flash ultimate coming out from Ginger Cat. Scion ulti going absolutely nowhere. And a lot of low health members on the side of LFT. Multiple of them will go down. That poke going to be very annoying, but in the top lane, Thick Broly dying to the Kale. And Bugs Rabbit is dominating, pushing in this top side. Multiple members having to recall for the side of DOR. Top lane inhibitor going down at 22 minutes in the game. Going to be very frustrating for the side of DOR, but they do have a very good income source for either their top or their mid laner or their ADC. So not going to be too discouraged by this top lane. It is on the same side as Baron, but of course when the Dragon comes up in about 2.5 minutes, that top lane is going to be a point of contention. Both teams now hovering around this Baron. D5 in a bit of a tricky position, does manage to get over the wall. As now LFT are going to start up this Baron. Kale being on the bottom side of the map means she's going to have to draw so much pressure, and DOR are going to have to decide, do they want to fight this Baron or are they going to give up this bot lane inhibitor as well? A lot of poke though coming out from the side of D5 on this Azir. And DOR looking to take their swipe at this Baron now, but the ultimate coming out from Cross Furies, the TP coming out from the Kale. Sheepy incredibly low, will go down first. Ginger Cat soon to follow. King D getting run down by multiple members, and the Azir ulti not saving D5. Thick Broly, the last surviving member of his team. Hardrock needs to be a little bit careful, does not want to trade back. But too many members of LFT still alive, and this may just be the end of the game. Trying to end through top lane are Bugs Rabbit and Jack Thy Ripper. They will do an incredibly large amount of damage to these turrets, and with no members of LFT respawning for 5 more seconds, except for Sheepy, who is not able to wave clear on the Yumi, that will be the end of this first match, going in LFT's favor. A bit of an unexpected result, but definitely something interesting, and it makes this first matchup suddenly become quite a bit more intense. LFT not necessarily the favorites in this particular matchup to win, but putting out a very strong showing. Doing a great job of rotating around the map and utilizing what they are good at. Let's take a look at some of these stats. 24-minute game, which if you have multiple scaling members, that is not what you want to see. This game should go to 35 minutes or more. But a 10k gold lead for the side of LFT in this first matchup means that they did very well in their early game. 7 towers to 1, 3 Void Grubs, complete objective control for the side of LFT. And this team is looking pretty strong. We'll see if they can continue this push, if they will be able to take the second game and sweep it 2-0. Or if Disciples of Reese are going to clap back. We'll find out shortly when we come back. All right, welcome back for game number 2. DOR electing to start on the blue side, potentially looking for a Smolder pick. We'll see if LFT are also going to ban the Smolder on red side. Starting things off, an Elise ban for the side of DOR. And Cross Fury is doing a very good job of making good early moves. Definitely making life miserable for both of those solo laners. And in return, his solo laners made things very difficult for the rest of the game. So we'll have to see how DOR does answer back in this game number 2. Tryndamere going to remain the ban for LFT for the first one. Elise, or Evelyn, excuse me, soon to follow. Senna going to be the response once again from the side of LFT. The final ban here for DOR about to be locked in for this first round. Will it be another jungle pick? Or are they going in a different direction? Renekton going to be the hubber for the side of DOR. And with that Kale out, Renekton definitely becoming a very difficult matchup next. Final ban for the side of LFT is going to be the Kennen. And it is going to be the early Smolder ban from the side of DOR, or excuse me, the early pick for the side of DOR. Immediately snatching that one up. No respect coming out from the side of LFT on that ADC. Definitely very good scaling for the side of DOR, but we'll see what they pick with it because that could make or break this team comp. And given the fact that LFT scaled very quickly, we're going to have to see something similar for the side of DOR. The Caitlyn Leona in response. And we'll see if the Nami comes out for Sheepy here on DOR's side. Definitely one of his played champions and likely to be the pick. Caitlyn Leona, though, a very classic, very solid, strong bot side, is going to make life very difficult for the Smolder. And if DOR aren't able to protect that ADC, it's going to be very difficult. But Milio, a good choice for the side of DOR. A lot of the CC that LFT want to apply here in this bottom side is going to be negated or made more difficult by this Milio. A little bit more difficult to play. Does have more skill shots to hit. But a lot of healing coming out for this DOR side. And Aatrox going to be the pickup likely in jungle here, but could be flexed to the top side. Ginger Cat definitely enjoying that champion in the jungle. Final pick here for the side of LFT. And DOR has a very interesting team comp to play around. We'll see what LFT elect to go. Nefiri going to be the pickup for their side. Nefiri, a good jungler, an okay mid laner, but a good flex pick for the side of LFT. And once again, showing very good drafting skill here. Are able to play a little bit of a mind game with DOR. As we start off the second phase of bans here. LFT going to start us off with a Teemo ban. Okay. An interesting ban for the side of LFT. Thick Broly talking in the server earlier today about how he wanted to play Teemo top lane. So I think this does make a little bit of sense. DOR though, where will they elect to focus? It looks like it is going to be on this top side as Zaheen going to be the next ban for the side of DOR. We'll see if they continue to follow that up with more top lane bans. For the side of LFT, they're also seeming to elect to focus on this top side. Final ban coming out from their side. What will it be? Mel, the hover here, and will be locked in. So a little bit of spread for both mid lane and top lane for LFT. Is DOR going to do the same? It is a little bit more difficult for them, not knowing exactly where that Nefiri is going. So they may just elect to focus on the top side. The problem, though, is LFT does have first choice of top laners. That is going to make things a little bit difficult for DOR. Ornn going to be locked in, so it will be focused on the top side here. We'll see if LFT try to keep that flex pick hidden or if they elect to show their hand and choose counter pick for top side. And Bugs Rabbit doing a very good job on that Kale early. And I think this makes sense here. The Amumu coming out for the side of LFT, so it will be interfering mid. Mumu not typically played in jungle, or sorry, not typically played in mid lane, will be in that jungle. Trying to give counter pick to their strongest player from the previous game. And that does make a lot of sense to me. DOR though, how do they elect to answer back? The Orianna going to be hovered here. Good with the Aatrox. I want to see a good engaged jungler coming out from the side of DOR. The Wukong not available anymore. Neither is the Gwen. And so Orianna has a little less of a good pairing in that jungle matchup. Jarvan's still available. Nocturne's still available. So there are options. Aatrox could be a decent option. But Shen hovered here for the top side. So it will be Aatrox jungle. And Shen and Aatrox both not terrible ball candidates. Not the best, but Aatrox definitely will be happy if he has Q3 up when Orianna uses R. That combination could be a little bit scary. So we'll have to see what LFT decide to answer back with. Will they go something aggressive? Will they look for something like the Gnar? Or will they fall back onto a tank? Will be the Volibear. And this is an interesting decision. Volibear doing pretty decently into the Shen matchup. So we do have players readying up here in the lobby. We'll be getting in shortly, but DOR have a decent mid-game path to allow the Smolder to scale. They really need to play patient and allow the Smolder to get those stacks. Going too ham, if they fall behind, could make things very difficult for this bottom side. But on the side of LFT, a very standard front-to-back teamfight comp with a lot of good engage coming out from multiple lanes means that this could be very difficult for the Smolder to play. Leona, Amumu, and Volibear all kind of just packing on to the Smolder with Nefiri over the top and Caitlyn from long range could make things very difficult for the bot lane of DOR. Aatrox could have a decent amount of scaling, but a lot of CC available for the side of LFT to make sure that he does not get his passive off. Shen there to protect the ADC as well for the side of DOR. So we'll have to see. This game could turn very bloody, but if it goes to 35 minutes, it starts to favor DOR. So we'll have to see if they're able to accelerate that scaling early as their lane opponents, or excuse me, as their opponents did in the previous game, or whether LFT are just going to take it all. We'll find out very shortly. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back everyone to game number 2. LFT looking to take the series with a very good team fight composition. DOR looking to clap back in the late game.
Minions have spawned.
We'll see which side gets the advantage here in just a few minutes. Not a lot of early action though coming out from either of these two teams. Both sides electing to have very standard starts. As the waves will join, it will be Aatrox in the jungle, Shen in that top side into the Volibear. And both junglers starting on different sides of the map this time. Will be very interesting to see. As Get Lasered getting very aggressive on this bottom side. King D and Sheepy being forced to back up. Hardcore will, will proc that lethal tempo early and make things very difficult for this bottom side of DOR. Very good early poke, and they will get level 2 advantage over their lane opponents. In the mid lane, though, Jack the Ripper taking a lot of damage early. As King Dean and Sheepy will get the level 2. Jack the Ripper getting very low here in this mid lane matchup. D5 really able to just poke this Nefiri out. If you're playing Nefiri into a ranged matchup, it can get very frustrating, but Big Broly allowing this wave to push in early. And if you are the side of DOR with that low health Nefiri, you really want to see something coming early. But Thick Broly in a very bad spot. Bugs Rabbit flashing forward to complete the kill. Will pick up that first blood. Hesitated for just a moment. Decided that the kill was worth it. And first blood to LFT. Get Laser standing a little bit far back. Not able to connect onto that smolder. Cross Furies, though, here in the mid lane. And it seems DOR do know about this. He is just kind of running in by himself. Ginger Cat here to respond, making this a 2v1 as his laner backed. And Cross Furies does have to blow the flash. Neither Ginger Cat nor D5 blowing their flash, but that will be really annoying for the Amumu. Not being able to Q or flash bandage toss anymore. Will make some of these early ganks not nearly as fun for this jungler. D5 getting the better of this mid lane matchup will create a small, actually not quite a small gold lead. Is not farming as well as the Nefiri, which is definitely not something that you expect from this bully matchup, but Sheepy just missing out on the blade. Does manage to avoid that Leona. Big Broly, though, now a level down on his lane opponent. Quite a bit of farm as well. The Sheen early for that Volibear means that not really able to fight. Bugs Rabbit, a little bit of BM. He dances on top lane. We'll do a lot of damage to Thick Broly with that stun. Thick Broly not going to be able to really walk up to this lane anymore. D5 now in a little bit of trouble as he is being chased down by 2 members of LFT. Will manage to successfully walk out towards his top laner and start the recall. Bugs Rabbit attempting to stop this recall, almost will. Not quite able to prevent it. A good look from him, though. As now Ginger Cat, knowing that this Amumu is on the top side, will elect to start up this Ocean Drake. And Ocean Drake, definitely one of the more difficult Drakes to take early. Not quite as difficult as Mountain, but still doing quite a bit of damage. But with the Aatrox passive, very easy. And the first Drake this series for the side of DOR. And unfortunately, Grub's not quite up yet. Will be spawning in a minute 33. We'll see if DOR elect to contest for that objective, or if they allow it to pass them by. Sheepy and King Dean, though, have managed to survive this early lane, almost level 6. Bugs Rabbit going aggressive onto Thick Broly here, who did try to cancel. Ginger Cat up here to help out his top laner. Bugs Rabbit potentially looking for a dive. Ginger Cat trying to make sure that this doesn't happen. Does taunt up the Volibear, and this is going to get very difficult for him very quickly. Will manage to slow down Ginger Cat. Does have to use the ulti. D5 also up here to help out. But DOR not quite fast enough to get this bear. Will manage to walk out, only blowing the ultimate. Still has the flash available. Or will have it available in just a few minutes. In just a few seconds. Jack Ripper, though, getting a lot of gold in this mid lane. Does manage to pick up a turret plate for himself. Will shove in this next wave. So he knows his lane opponent needs to recall and walk back. Grubs now spawned for this game. And Amumu here early, looking to take this neutral objective away. It will be a trade of objectives if they are able to get all three. Of course, their top lane much stronger than DOR. That early kill onto the Volibear makes things very difficult, and he will be able to just proxy. Thick Broly could be in a bit of trouble here if they elect to send 4 members top. Shen having the Tiamat, but not having a lot of defensive stats right now besides that D-Shield. Get lasered, sniffing around the mid lane. Cross Fury's here to make something happen potentially as well. If D5 steps too far forward, he is going to have to flash. Get lasered does manage to land the stun, but Thick Broly trying to ultimate over the top. It will be a trade, mid laner for jungler, but Thick Broly will make it a 2-for-1. Ginger Cat now here trying to make it an additional kill. But not bad. In response from the side of DOR, does lose their mid laner, but does take 2 in response. King D and Sheepy now needing to get a lot of work done on this bottom side. Sheepy steps into a trap as he tries to soccer kick Hard Rock. We'll take a little bit of damage for that. Get Laser returns to the bottom side here. A lot of damage onto this top lane turret, though, is going to make things difficult for Thick Broly. If he walks away from this turret at any point now, he does not have his top lane quest complete, will not be able to get back to that lane very quickly. And that turret will likely just go down. Get lasered, missing the Zenith Blade onto Sheepy. Does mean nothing more aggressive, but Bugs Rabbit is going to go aggressive. Thick Broly trying to go aggressive in response, but just does not have the defensive stats. Ginger Cat up here now, trying to make something happen. Bugs Rabbit going aggressive, but D5 is also getting aggressed on by Cross Furies. Does not have that flash, and Thick Broly will taunt up, will manage to get the kill onto Bugs Rabbit with the help of Ginger Cat, but in response, D5 going down to Cross Furies and Jack Ripper in this mid lane. And trade of solo laners. Cross Furies is now up here on the top side, trying to make things difficult for Thick Broly. Will land the second bandage toss. But Thick Broly should be able to walk this one out. Cross Furies having a decent amount of damage early. Does have... Ooh! Does actually lose his life. He goes a little too aggressive here in this top lane. Did have the item components for Leandries, but unfortunately just not enough damage to make it happen. Ginger Cat will punish in response by taking the second Hextech Drake, and they are in full control of these dragons. And as I was saying in the previous game, if you are on the scaling side, you're going to be really happy to stack these Drakes early. The faster you can get to a Dragon Soul as a stacking team, or as a scaling team, the more advantage you're going to have. And realistically, you should not be allowed to do this, but Thick Broly Now fighting with Bugs Rabbit. D5 and Ginger Cat are on the way, though. Bugs Rabbit having to flash over the wall. D5 is going to try to prevent him from leaving. Ginger Cat now flashing in response. Bugs Rabbit does not have the ultimate. Will lose his life. A trade of top laner for jungle flash. King D, though, in a bit of trouble here. The ultimate coming out from Sheepy. Cross Fury is now on the bottom side, and Shen, ultimate over the top. Mom called, and Cross Furies is dead. Very good use of the Milia ultimate to protect this ADC and sort of the protect the ADC part of this comp coming out. Jack the Ripper, though, here on the bottom side does go onto Thick Broly, but does not have a ton of damage and is in a 3v1. Will manage to get the kill and flash over the wall. Kind of gets away with murder. Little frustration for the side of the OR. So a play that never should have been allowed to happen does, in fact, happen. And at 13 minutes, if we take a look at the XP here, similar to last game, both solo laners up over their lane opponents by a decent amount. Thick Broly, though, did manage to bring it back a little bit and is now up a little bit of XP over Bugs Rabbit, who will quickly even things up. Ginger Cat, though, up quite a bit of XP over his lane opponent. Level 9 to level 10, almost level 11 on this Aatrox. Bot lane relatively even in terms of XP. Thick Broly, though, does still need to be careful. Dusk and Dawn completed for Bugs Rabbit on this Volibear makes him incredibly annoying to play into. The Titanic Hydra for Thick Broly, but now it is 3 people on this top side. Bugs Rabbit having to use the ultimate to get away, but just not enough. Does do a lot of healing with that Volibear, but still loses his life as a 3v1 is going to be very difficult for this Volibear to escape. Broly and D5 trying to get this top lane turret here is Jack the Ripper getting the mid lane turret in response, is now sniffing around this bottom side. Cross Furies, though, trying to make something happen, does land the ultimate and the bandage toss onto Thick Broly, but the ultimate coming out for D5 means that he will just go down. On the bottom side, though, Jack the Ripper does manage to get the response kill onto King D. And this Smolder having a little bit of difficulty scaling as Ginger Cat down here to protect Sheepy. It is a 3v2. Jack the Ripper is incredibly strong at this point, does have the Voltaic Short Sword. An item which was nerfed recently, but still very good on these AD assassins. Hard Rock also completing the Hex Optics means that he will have quite a bit of range on this Caitlyn, who already deals a lot of damage and has a lot of range. D5 now opting to head towards this bottom side. A little bit less safety for the Smolder in the mid lane. But Bugs Rabbit and Cross Furies going for this Herald now. Top side objectives seem to be in control of LFT, and bot side a lot more in control of Disciples of Reese. Congregating now on this bottom side for the Drake that is spawning in about 15 seconds. Cross Furies and Jack the Ripper are on this bottom side here, walking around with Laser Kid, trying to get some vision. Thick Broly backing all the way up, making sure that if his team needs him, he is able to ult and not get interrupted. If he gets interrupted by this Volibear, it is very, very difficult for Disciples of Reese to play this team fight. LFT, though, first on this Drake. Will they be able to stop the stacking? It looks like Disciples of Reese have elected not to contest for this next Drake. Cross Furies will secure it. King D, though, getting jumped on by Bugs Rabbit here, and Get Laser Kid not too far behind. Does have to use the cleanse from the Smolder. Mom coming out, but the ultimate coming out from both Bugs Rabbit and Jack Knight Ripper means that Smolder will just die. Does not have Sheepy in his back pocket. Now Jack Knight Ripper trying to run down Ginger Cat here. As on the bottom side, D5 also falls to Cross Furies and Hard Rock. And this game starting to look a little bit scary for the side of DOR. They do still have the scaling of the Smolder in their back pocket. If they're able to slow this game down, they have 2 Drakes. LFT have a lot of work to do in order to get the Drake count back up. And that gives Smolder a lot of time to scale. Bugs Rabbit now on this bottom side, looking to get even more gold for himself, will try to push in the spot lane turret. D5 going to be the response. An Axiom Arc now completed for the Neferi means that she will have that ultimate up even faster. A very low cooldown on that ultimate, but having it up more consistently will mean more difficulties for the Smolder. And part of the problem that we identified in draft is starting to come out now as Sheepy gets jumped on by Cross Furies. No follow-up though, so does elect to walk out. But as I was saying, part of that problem that we identified in draft is starting to rear its ugly head. A lot of ability to just jump on the Smolder and run him down. Aatrox also having a lot of CC that prevents him from healing up, doing exactly what he wants to do. No cleanse available except from Sheepy, and Sheepy has to be right on top of either of them in order to make this happen. "19 minutes into the game, though. Things calming down just a little bit. A 1.5k gold lead for the side of LFT. Not nearly as wide of a gold lead is as in the previous matchup. DOR doing a much better job of slowing this game down and controlling it. But D5 in a lot of trouble here. Jack Knight Ripper dealing a lot of damage on this Neferi with 2 full items completed. Another one on the way. Herald will be called up in this mid lane. Does a lot of damage as Get Laser Kid goes on to Sheepy, who pops the ultimate. Mom comes out, but Bugs Rabbit turning the turret off. Thick Broly, though, trying to turn this around. Bugs Rabbit ultimate coming out very, very low. Does manage to get picked up by King D, and now Get Laser Kid having to run for the hills. Ginger Cat trying to chase him down. Thick Broly looking for the alternative. The Amumu ult coming out as Get Laser Kid goes on to Thick Broly, trying to prevent him from taunting people up. Cross Furies, though, very, very low, will go down, but Thick Broly also very low. Ginger Cat losing his life here as Hard Rock does a lot of damage on this Caitlyn, almost at the eye edge, and of course, Jack Knight Ripper in the backline, able to clean up those 2 low health kills. D5 now in a decent amount of trouble. Jack Knight Ripper is very low, but then if you're healing, does make things difficult. Get Laser Kid looking. Oh, and a good ultimate from D5 will claim the life of the Caitlyn. A good look from the Leona to try and catch out that Orianna, but not having vision there means not going to be able to land that ability. DOR all but 1 outer turret lost at this point in the game. A 4k gold lead for the side of LFT. Still have that scaling Smolder in the back pocket, but not getting as much of an opportunity to scale up now. Some of these team fights just not going the way of DOR. Chemtech Drake spawning in a minute, and it will be the second Chemtech Soul we have seen this series. LFT are going to be first to the strike, do have all of the vision. We'll see if DOR elect to contest for this objective. King D, Justin Cat, Ginger Cat going over the wall into Bugs Rabbit and get Laser Kid means that he's going to be very, very low. But Smolder has hit 225 and a good ult coming out means that get Laser is really low. Ginger Cat trying to survive for as long as he can, but just not able to. Nobody else on his team there to follow up. And 5 members strong. Cross Fury's looking for a good bandage toss. Jackdaw Ripper in a very difficult position for DOR. Does manage to land that Q and sends the pack howling after Disciples of Reese. They will scatter a little bit on that blast cone. And honestly, the way Nefiri minions work with those blast cones is very funny. LFT though looking for their Baron. Get Laser Kid finding a good pick onto Thick Broly, but Smolder getting the stacks off does manage to execute two. Get Laser Kid falling. Sheepy now the next to fall is Jack the Ripper is really, really strong, and Bugs Rabbit able to contain the Smolder. A quadra kill for this Nefiri as they turn it on its head. Ginger Cat, the only remaining member of Disciples of Reese. And LFT do not elect to go for this Baron, but Jack the Ripper is looking for his pentakill. Will go very deep, but Ginger Cat enough healing to shut him down. A little greed from the LFT mid laner. They will manage to pick up this mid lane inhibitor turret and crack the base. But Thick Broly looking for a potential flank here. Ginger Cat really low though. Oh, excuse me, that's D5. Is going to go after Hard Rock. But is going to be discouraged by the Volibear. And Hard Rock able to get out. D5 using that teleport, not to much effect. Is going to try to sniff out Bugs Rabbit here though. He will just walk out. Is D5 continuing to try to cancel these recalls. And now Disciples of Reese posturing around this Baron, trying to get as much vision as they can. Cross Furies finding a good pick onto Thick Broly. The ultimate from the Leona not going to land. And that's two very large crowd control summoners gone for the side of LFT. But Jack the Ripper is still incredibly strong. Does have that Edge of Night now on the Nefiri and is going to be able to avoid some of the CC coming out from the side of DOR. Multiple people bush cheesing here. Trying to find an angle. Sheepy going to be run over by Jack the Ripper. Will lose half his health and Bugs Rabbit is there to take the rest. Mom coming out onto Bugs Rabbit. He is very low and almost in execute range for the Smolder. Will manage to ultimate, but Cross Fury is finding the angle. Forces the flash out of King D. Excuse me, the cleanse. Hard Rock, though, going to do a lot of damage. Jack the Ripper following up onto the Smolder. Thick Broly also following means this team fight is over, and this game may be as well. A very good team fight that almost looked good for the side of DOR, but just not able to find that scaling. 25 minutes into the game, but a 6k gold lead in the mid lane for Jack the Ripper. A 9k overall for his team means that Sheepy once again going to watch as his Nexus is obliterated. Jack the Ripper looking for one more kill. Will trade his life in response. Does manage to get that kill. And that will be the end of this series. LFT coming back in a very strong fashion against Disciples of Reese. Looking very good in the second game that we have seen them on. And completely flipping the script. I expected this to be a 2-0 in the favor of DOR, but what do I know, apparently? That game looked incredibly rough and has to be frustrating for the side of DOR. especially after their very good week 1 showing. Let's take a look at a couple of the stats here. A 26-minute game for the side of LFT. Much more even in Drakes, but still towers 2 to 8. Void Grubs taken for the side of LFT. The Fury putting in so much work, and Thick Broly doing more damage than his Oriana and almost more than his Smolder. Makes things very difficult for the side of DOR, not able to slow that game down fast enough. Now, LFT did not win in as much of a commanding fashion. Definitely a lot more even during this game. And only an 8k gold lead at the end, but still looking very strong in this game. A very good showing from them, and we definitely applaud them for putting together a great team. That being said, that is going to end the draft, or that is going to end the series for this particular cast. We will have one more cast going on. If you missed the first game, we have one more for you on our primary channel. Please make sure to go and check that out. Also, remember to interact with our Twitter and our YouTube VODs that we are trying to post almost every single day. And don't forget, on Friday, tomorrow night, we will have Horizon himself casting our in-house games, and it will be a flame fest. He has promised to make it as toxic as he possibly can. So be there, be in the games, get made fun of, have a laugh, have a drink. We will be drinking at these in-houses. I'll see you there. I've been Matrixsenpai. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me tonight as we watch Disciples of Reese taking it to LFT, or excuse me, LFT taking it to DOR in a very commanding fashion. We'll see you next time.